The Interstellar Academy's combat training facility had seen many species pass through its doors, but never before had the instructors dealt with such a paradox as humans. Professor Vextrau stood at the edge of the sparring arena, his four eyes tracking the human instructor with fascination and concern. Lieutenant Marcus Webb moved through the basic defensive positions, demonstrating proper form to the class of mixed-species cadets. The Krallians watched with barely concealed amusement, their armored carapaces gleaming under the facility lights. The Theran students whispered among themselves, their telepathic chatter creating a soft buzz in the air. "Humans are so small," one of the Krallian cadets muttered, loud enough for others to hear. "Their skin tears so easily. No natural armor, no venom, no exoskeleton. How did they even survive long enough to reach space?" Cadet Thorn, a massive Krallian standing nearly 8 feet tall, raised a clawed hand. "Instructor, with respect, why should we learn human combat techniques? Your species seems fragile." Webb stopped mid-demonstration and smiled. It wasn't a friendly expression. Fragile. That's the third time this week I've heard that word. He rolled his shoulders. "Tell you what, let's make this practical. Thorn, you're up. Standard sparring match. First to yield or first to incapacitation." Vextrau's antennae shot up in alarm. "Lieutenant Webb, perhaps this isn't. It'll be educational, Professor." Webb stepped into the center ring, and the other cadets quickly moved to the observation zone. Thorn lumbered forward, confident. His species had conquered 17 worlds before joining the galactic community. They were warriors by nature, bred for combat, with shells that could deflect plasma fire. Against a soft-skinned human, this would be embarrassing. The match began with predictable results. Thorn rushed forward, using his superior mass. Webb dodged the first strike, but the Krallian was faster than he looked. A backhand caught the human across the ribs, and even from the sidelines, everyone heard the sickening crack. Webb stumbled, his face going pale. He pressed a hand to his side, and when he pulled it away, there was blood seeping through his training uniform. "Instructor," Professor Vextrau moved toward the emergency shutdown. "Don't." Webb's voice was sharp, commanding. He straightened, still holding his broken ribs, and his eyes locked onto Thorn. "We're not done." What happened next would be analyzed in xenobiology classes for years to come. Webb didn't retreat. Instead, he moved forward, his style shifting entirely. The defensive postures were gone, replaced by something primal and terrifying. He slipped inside Thorn's guard, and his elbow, driven by whatever insane adrenaline response humans possessed, struck the soft joint between carapace plates. Thorn roared in pain and swung again. The blow caught Webb in the shoulder, dislocating it with an audible pop. The human didn't even slow down. Using his good arm, he grabbed Thorn's extended limb and twisted, applying leverage to the joint in a way that made the Krallian's biology scream in protest. "You want to know why humans aren't fragile?" Webb's voice was steady despite the blood now dripping from his mouth. "Because we don't stop." He swept Thorn's legs, and a massive alien crashed to the mat. Before Thorn could recover, Webb had positioned himself for a submission hold that threatened the Krallian's secondary breathing spiracle. "Yield," Thorn gasped, tapping frantically against the mat. Webb released him immediately and staggered backward. Only then did he allow himself to collapse to one knee, breathing hard. Medical drones were already swarming in. Professor Vextrau rushed to his side. "You have 3 broken ribs, a dislocated shoulder, internal bleeding, and possibly a concussion. What were you thinking?" Webb looked up at the silent class of cadets, all of them staring with new understanding and fear in their eyes. "I was thinking they needed to learn an important lesson." He coughed, wincing. "Humans aren't fragile. We're just persistent. Our bodies might break, but we've got this annoying habit of ignoring that fact until the fight's over." A Theran cadet spoke, her mental voice trembling. "Your pain receptors, you felt all of that, didn't you?" "Every bit," Webb confirmed, as the medical team began stabilizing him for transport. "We just decided a long time ago that pain is information, not a command." As they carried him toward the medical bay, Webb called back to the stun class. "Class dismissed." Next week, we cover advanced grappling. Don't be late. The cadets stood in shocked silence. They had come to this lesson thinking humans were the weakest species in the academy. They left knowing humans were the most terrifying.